My name is Saqib. Some of you might have attended my previous webinars. Uh, so you know that I'm the product lead at GMATWiz, and I have been the principal architect of the GMATWiz course as such, the design that you see and the intelligence that you see on the platform. Apart from that, I've been teaching in this, been in this edtech industry for close to 10 years now. I like teaching quant, and my, as I've always told you, that my main aim is to make sure that I simplify concepts as much as possible, especially for topics, difficult topics like these, permutation combination, where people inherently face a lot of issues. And there's a lot of confusion regarding what to use, when to use permutation, when to use combination, and so on and so forth. So I'll try my best to simplify it this time also. The progression of the webinar is going to remain the same. I'll start off with the main presentation without wasting a lot of time. I'll jump right into it. This is going to be a mix of theory as well as a question kind of a session where I'll teach you things in bits and pieces with the help of examples. And I'll try to cover almost all the varieties that I can in the limited time that we have. And then I'll be keeping about the remaining 10 minutes at the end in case if you have any queries, and this these queries could be related to anything. It could be a GMAT query related to GMAT or quant in general. Please feel free to ask them at the end of the webinar. Okay. So let's get started. And before I start and tell you what I think are the common confusions and permutation combinations, I would want your take. Those of you who have actually done permutation combination, what kind of issues do you face when you're solving questions of this topic? Anyone? And I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. Any answer would be fine, whatever in your experience. Karan, I'm still down with COVID, but I'm feeling slightly better now. So yeah, it may take me a few. So those of you who don't know, I've been down with COVID and I'm still recuperating. Hopefully within 3-4 days, I should be back to normal. Okay, and then says how important is permutation combination GMAT, and then it is fairly important in the recent times. Like 3 or 4 years back, if you would have asked me this question, I would have said no, 1 or 2 questions. But recently, from the feedback that I've got from a lot of students who have been taking the GMAT, is that a lot of questions in the first 15 are coming. When I say a lot, I mean 2 and 3, and that is also a lot from permutation, combination, and probability. So I would previously used to recommend students also to leave it, but now we don't. Now we say that whatever happens, at least make sure that you understand the basics of it, the ones which are like frequently asked kind of questions. If you're able to do that, it should not be a problem. Okay. Okay, Abhi says circular permutation. Abhi, circular permutation does not come a lot, so don't worry about it. As long as you know just one of the formulas, n-1 factorial, and that also rarely, frankly speaking, rarely have I seen question in the last 10 years in on circular permutation. So don't worry about that. What I feel is what more important. Like what GMAT likes to test more on is questions which are, where cases are involved, where constraints are involved, where you don't know whether you need to add or subtract. Those kind of situations are where I think people face a problem where they end up double counting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the problems into 3 parts. One part is the very common and obvious part, is that people don't know or have a little bit of confusion what to use, whether they should use NPR or NCR, permutation combination. That's a very common kind of confusion. Should I use this or should I use this? Okay. And the second major confusion, which I think is, and that's the more major one, if you can, if you can fix this issue, you can always avoid double counting a lot, is that when to add in, when to multiply. So you find a number of cases and then you don't know what to do with it. Do you multiply all these cases? Do you add all of these cases? That's not really clear. And as I said, if you can fix this, the add to multiply, you will be able to avoid this. If you're not able to fix this, there'll be a lot of chances that When I say double counting, I mean multiple counting, by the way. Okay, there's a chance that you might end up counting one case 5, 7, 8, 9 times also. But the idea is that you're counting cases, valid cases, a number of times which are not required, because you're not realizing that maybe the order might not be important or something like that. So what we do is, and in my personal opinion, in GMAT, almost as far as PNC is concerned, 80 to 90% of the question, in fact, all of them can be done, but 80 to 90% of the question can be solved without worrying about permutation combination at all. When I say without worrying about permutation combination, what I mean is without worrying about PNC, without thinking whether I should write NPR or NCR. If you can figure out what to do, add or multiply, and how to write cases, I think that this is the most important skill that you need to have, how to write cases. If you can do this, then believe me, most of the questions, as I said, 80 to 90% of the questions you'll be able to solve easily. And my focus here also would be on this, to show you how you can just ensure to write cases keeping the constraints in mind. Okay. And I'm going to start off with that and multiply by taking a very, very, very simple example, okay? Because once you get the hang of it, rest of the stuff, as I told you, would become very easy. Now, add and multiply, just to put it out there in a very simple term, is and would basically mean multiplication. And I'll talk about it in detail, so don't worry about it, okay? Or would basically mean addition. This is one thing that you should put in your mind, that if I am doing A or B, then that means if I say A or B, then that means it is A plus B. If I say A and B, then I mean A multiplied by B. Okay. And this is something that you need to always say out aloud when you're writing cases, so that you know what you need to do with these cases. And I'm going to take, as I told you, a very basic example. This is an example, where you have to go from X to Y. A very common, fairly kind of easy question. And they might give you a path. They might tell you, hey, you have to go to from X, you have to go to X, you have to go to Y from X, and you have to go via path A. Okay. In how many ways can you do it? Okay. Now, if I number them, label them, let's say I label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can say, and I can go from X to Y by taking this route via route 1 and then route 2, or I can go via route 1 and 3, via route 1 and 4, via route 1 and 5, right? So I can take these 4 ways. In 4 ways, I can reach from X to Y. Now, this is manual counting, and I'm writing it down for now. Okay, don't worry. I'll show you what you need to do with these things, but just write it down. Similarly, let's take another case where you need to go from X to Y, but there's another option. You can take these routes, and let me again name them something. Let's say, let me use alphabets now, A, B, C, D, E. So if you want to go from X to Y via B, you can take the route AC, AD, and AE, CDE, right? Or you can take BC, BD, BE. So total, as you can see, you can take 6 routes, right? And if I ask you what are the total routes, you would end up saying the total routes are 4 ways here, 6 ways here, total 10 ways. Easy question, I know, fairly easy to understand and visualize. But the same thing can be done with the help of permutation combination. And here is where you need to say it aloud to understand what you need to do. Ask yourself, you need to go from X to Y. If you want to go from X to Y, obviously you'll have to take the path A, right? You have to go X to Y by taking path A. So you have to take X to A. And once you cross X to A, then only you will be able to go from A to Y. So here you're taking the route X to A. How many ways are there? There's just one way. And how many ways are there to, and focus on the word. I'm always using the word and. How many ways are there to reach Y? 4 ways. So you simply do 1 times 4. 1 is obviously for 1. There's an and sign here, so use the multiplication sign. And 4 ways, so you say 4, 1 times 4. Okay. Same goes for B. If I have to go from X to Y via B, I have to go from X to B in 2 ways. There's no other way. And then I have to take any of the 3 ways to reach Y, right? Now, finally, how do I get 10? Think about it. When you go from X to Y, either you will be taking path A or you will be taking path B, right? You cannot simultaneously go like this, right? You're not going like this. You're choosing either this path or this path. So you'll say either I'll be choosing path 1 or I'll be choosing path 2. So you simply add them up and you get a result, which is 10. So as I told you, it's a very simple concept. But saying it aloud and writing it down properly, saying what exactly are you doing? Whenever you're doing things simultaneously, or you know that both of things are definitely required, then in that case you're using and. That's another simple way of understanding it. Whenever things, one thing doesn't affect the other, like either this will happen or that will happen, in that case you end up using or a plus sign. Okay. So I hope this is perfectly easy to understand. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you most of the concepts, most of the questions that we are going to solve today by using the concept of counting only. Okay. And I'm going to take up this question. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay. Don't worry, even if you don't know how to solve it or you don't know what you need to do it, just try it out and try this question using both the methods. Okay. Try and form 4-letter words. Okay. In which you can use 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, where repetition is not allowed. That means you can use one digit only once. And try another case where you can use any of the words as numbers as many times as you want to use. And put your response in the chat box. And you put your answer in a private chat. Okay, just don't send a public chat. Send a private chat and let me know what do you think would be the answer. How would you do it? Very good. I can see that all of you understand this. See, here also if somebody would ask me what kind of a question is it, if you start with that kind of a logic, what question, then you're going to get stuck. You will start thinking, okay, should I use P, should I use C, with repetition, how do I write NPR? These kind of questions will crop up in your mind, and then you're going to waste your time. A better way is to simply think of what you need to do. Ask yourself, okay, these are numbers. Obviously, if I place numbers, different numbers would give me different answers. Okay, so the order matters. Just simply say the order matters. By the way, those of you who are interested in knowing PNC, if the order matters, then it's permutation. Just for the sake of knowledge, order matters. Okay. Now, whenever you're doing with repetition, ask yourself that there are 4 spaces, without repetition, and you have to fill all the 4 spaces, right? You have to fill space number 1, and you need to fill the space number 2, and you need to fill space number 3, and you need to fill space number 4. If you don't fill up all these 4 spaces, you will not get your 4 number. You cannot write a number like this, right? 1, 6, 9 and done, and don't fill the second space. That's not going to happen. You have to put some number in it, right? So what you do next is, once you understand that you have to multiply, you take each cases one by one. Okay, you ask yourself, okay, how many numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 digits. I have a space. In how many ways can I fill it? I can fill it in 5 ways. Okay, I can fill either 1 or 3 or 6 or 8 or 9, right? Okay, I've used one of them. Okay, now so how many am I left with? And I'm putting a multiplication sign because there's an and here. I'm left with 4. So I can fill the second space in 4 ways. I've used another one. I can fill the third space in 3 ways. I've used another digit, and then finally I left with 2 ways. And all I need to do is now multiply and get my answer. That's all. And with repetition is very easy, because see, whenever you have the word with repetition, then that means you can use any digit as many times as you want. So first place can be filled in 5 ways. Second place also no restriction, fill it with whatever you want to fill it. Third space also same logic. Fourth space also same logic. So you end up saying that your answer is going to be 625. Okay. Unfortunately, GMAT will not give you such an easy question unless you're really lucky, or you're in the starting phases of your exam. But even then, it's better to understand the difference between the two kind of questions. The language in the exam, what's going to happen is they're going to ask you the question in this way. So if the word distinct digits or unique digits word is mentioned, then that means you're solving a question without repetition. So don't repeat a digit more than once. Okay. If nothing is mentioned, if they simply say how many 4-digit numbers can be formed using the digits blah 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 blah, then repetition is allowed. Okay, so please be careful about this. Make sure that you understand this before proceeding with repetition or without repetition. But as I said, this was easy, so let's let's increase the difficulty level a bit. In fact, this one's again an easy one. If you've understood the previous one, you should be able to do it in this one very quickly. So I'll give you a minute, try this out, and then we'll increase the difficulty level a bit. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, good. I can see the answers have already started pouring in, which is good. Another 15 seconds. Yeah. Okay, I don't see anyone putting in their incorrect response. I'll move quickly, which is good. So see, as I told you, it's a very simple question. Make sure that you read this properly. Repetition not allowed. Okay, so if repetition is not allowed, then that means each digit need to be used distinctively. You have to use it just once. How many digits you need to make? You need to make 4. And then count how many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 digits with you, 4 spaces. Again, you have to fill all of them. So just put a multiplication sign in between. And then say first place can be filled in 6 ways. Second can be filled in 5 ways. This can be filled in 4 ways. And this can be filled in 3 ways. And then you have your answer. That's it. That is all you had to do, nothing else. Okay, so it is this easy as far as the easy questions are concerned. Now, what's going to happen is obviously GMAT is not going to give you direct basic questions. They're always going to bring in some constraint or the other. So let's add a constraint in this question. Now try this one and read very carefully. It might look like the same question, but it is not. So read it carefully and then tell me what would be the answer. And I'm adding up the poll. Please put your response on the poll only. Okay, the good thing is that most of you have got this one correct, except barring a few who might have fallen for a small trap here. Okay, so let's start the discussion. So 70% of you think the answer should be B. So let's see if it's actually how's it B. Notice here also, see, nothing else is changing. Everything remains the same. Distinct. First point is how many distinct 4-digit. So you create 4-digit numbers like this. Okay, that's point number 1. The only different thing out here is that I've added a constraint which is even numbers. Previously, the question that you have been solving was simply 4-digit number questions. So there was no problem at all. All we had to do was count and then say 6, 5, 4, 3 and say 360 would have been the answer if there would have been no constraint. Just keep this in mind, okay? But here, the constraint is that I need to ensure that it's an even number. Now, how do I ensure that a number is even? Okay, an even number is a number in which the unit digit, the last digit that we have here, this should be even, right? That's the main constraint. So whenever you're solving questions, wherever there are constraints, make sure, if possible, and in maximum cases that's going to happen, is that you take care of the constraint first. Always worry about the constraint. Make sure that you fill that up. A lot of people start filling this up first. They think, okay, let me fill this in 5 ways, then 4, then 3, and then you'll say, oh, I'm left with 3 of them, so I'll put the remaining 3 here. But you don't know which 3 you're putting here, okay? So you don't never write it like this. You always start from the right. You always start from the constraint. In this case, obviously, it's right even. Now, how many even numbers digits do I have? I have 2, 4, and 8. I have 3 of them. So you will say, in order to ensure that I have an even number, my last place can only be filled in 3 ways. You start from here. You say, okay, let me fill this up 3 ways. I cannot do anything else. I have to use any of these 3 only. Okay. Now keep in mind, it's a digit. So obviously you'll be using one of them, whatever you use. Okay, so you have used one of them. And this is where the difference comes in, because see, now you have with you one, you had 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, right? Now let's say I've used 2, hypothetically speaking, I've used one of them. How many are you left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now once the constraint is taken care of, it doesn't matter how you fill the remaining spaces. Fill it in whatever way, whatever order you want to fill it, you'll get the same answer. So you'll say, okay, now I'm left with 5 digits. So if I start from here, the first place can be filled in 5 ways. This can be filled in 4 ways. This can be filled in 3 ways. And then you multiply and get your answer as 180. Is this clear, guys? Please let me know if this is clear or not. This is a small difference, but an important one. So I want to make sure that it's perfectly clear. I'm bringing a yes and no poll. Please mark yes if this is clear. Okay, I can see a few questions. And then ask, should we do PNC with probability only or separately? And then do first PNC, make sure that that is clear. Probability is an extension of PNC. So if PNC is clear, probability you'll find slightly easier once you're done with the PNC part. Karen's asking, is it possible to find out how many ways if a digit can be repeated? Karan, see, if there are certain constraints given in the question, let's say they tell you one of the digit can be used twice, though they don't, okay? Hypothetically speaking, because you're asking a hypothetical question, then yes, you can. Obviously, you'll have to take care of that constraint. If they ask me to use a digit more than once, I'll have to take care of that also. But in this case, they won't. Either they'll tell you to use everything with repetition, or they'll tell you not to use anything with repetition. Okay, I'll show you with repetition also how to do this one. Okay. Okay, Julia is asking why is it not 6663? Julia, please keep in mind that here the question says no digits occur more than once. Read this part carefully. Distinct 4-digit numbers, and none of them should occur more than. If none of them can occur more than once, then once I've used one of the digits, I cannot use it again. Okay, if the question would have been how many 4-digit even numbers can be formed using the digits, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and no constraint given, nothing else, just even number. Just let's say only this part was given, then you would have said, okay, let me draw 4 spaces. I have to ensure it's even. So in that case, it's non-negotiable. The last space can either be 2 or 4 or 8. That has to be filled in 3 ways only. There's no other option. Apart from that, if there is no constraint, I'm repeating it again, and if repetition is allowed, everything is given to you, then you can use these digits as many times as you want. Then you could have said 666. Okay. So I hope it answers your query, everyone. Abhishek, in this case, you can. Yes, you can divide it by 2 because there will be equal number of even and odd cases. So if you want, you can. Arindam, the session would be about 1.5 hours. Okay. Ragos, I'm not sure what you mean by basic versions of creating codes, but yeah, if you want to create codes using this, then yeah, definitely you can create codes using these numbers. You can definitely. Okay, so I hope guys, with repetition, without repetition, both part is perfectly clear. Okay. Try this one, guys. And Mari, that's the question basically. I haven't taken it randomly. That is the digits that were given to me. These are the digits given to me. So I'm using these. That's all. If they would have given me some other digit, I would have used those digits to solve it. Once again, read this one very carefully. Might seem easy, but there's a small constraint in it. Okay, so what might happen is they might give you a lot of digits. They might give you 10 digits, 12 digits, 7 digits, okay? Not sorry, 10, 12, but the 8, 9 digits they might give you, and they might ask you to pick and choose any 4 out of them, okay? So they might give you 1, 2, 6, 5, 7, 8, but you have to choose 4. Okay, I can see the polls have almost normalized. So let me end the poll. Can anyone tell me what's the constraint in this question? What do I need to take care of to solve this question? Looks the same. Again, I have to create 4 digits, and I've been given 7 digits. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 digits, right? I've been given 7 digits. So what's different in this case? Okay, Hitakshi says 0. Last digit cannot. Very good, absolutely good. Yeah, first digit cannot be 0. That's good. So these are small minor things that you have to take care of. And I've already told you, if you have understood the concept properly, you would know that okay, I have to create 4 digit numbers. The constraint here implicit, because they're not telling explicitly, is that this cannot be in the first place. Not possible. And I told you, if there's a constraint, take care of that. Make sure that you fill this first, get rid of it, and then worry about the others easily. So if the first place cannot be filled with 0, ask yourself, what can it be filled with? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 options with you. You can either put 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. So you'll say, okay, the first place can only be filled in 6 ways. Okay. Now, once you have filled this up, this is where things get a bit tricky. People end up writing 6, 5, 4, 3, and that's a mistake. Once you have used this, you have filled the first space. You must have used any one of the digits. Let me write it separately to may help you visualize it. Okay, you must have used one of them. Let's say you have used this one. Okay. Now, when you're filling the second space, there is no constraint on 0. Now, the one that you had discarded, now you can bring it back. You can say, okay, now I'm free to fill the second, third, and fourth space with whatever I want to fill it up. Okay. So how many again do you have? Once you bring back 0, you once again have 6 digits with you. So you'll say, okay, the second place can be filled in 6 ways. Then again, one of them must have been used 5 ways. Then again, one of them must have been used, so 4 ways. And then you multiply it and you get 36 times 20, which is 720. And that's your answer. That's all. Okay. So please keep in mind, whenever there's I'm going to make this a little bit more tricky in the next question, but I hope it's clear. Whenever there's a constraint, especially like 0, they won't mention it explicitly. You have to look for it, infer that 0 cannot be placed in the first space, get rid of that, fill that first space, and after that, bring back the 0. This is an important part to bring it back when you're filling up the rest of the spaces. Okay. Okay. Now let's try a slightly difficult version of this. Try this one, guys. Here in them, yes, these are asked in the GMAT. Obviously, that's why I'll be doing it. Otherwise, there's no sense of doing it, right? The one that you're especially doing now, question number 4, can definitely be asked in the actual exam also. Himani is asking why 0? Because if you you cannot get a 4-digit number by placing 0 at the starting, Himani. Think about it. If is this a 4-digit number? It's not, right? You cannot have 0, 1, 2. This is not a 4-digit number. To have a 4-digit number, the first place must be non-zero, like this 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 4-digit number. This, if you place a 0 in starting, then this becomes a 3-digit number. That's why we cannot place 0 in the starting. Okay. I hope that answers your query. Another 30 seconds, guys. Then I'm going to end the poll. This is a very interesting question. Almost 50% of you have marked. It's like a 50-50 split so far between the correct and incorrect. And this is the kind of question that I was talking about, where you end up double counting, or you end up making a mistake, not sure which one to fill first. 10 seconds more. Okay, I'm about to end the poll. So those of you who are done, can you tell me what is the challenge in this question? What are the various constraints that are there in the question that we need to take care of? About 50% of you think the answer should be B. I have quite a few who think the answer should be C. So can anyone tell me where is the issue here? Okay, Anand says first and last, Himani even number in 0. 0 cannot be in the first place, and the number has to be even, which constraint to be filled. Very good. Okay, so at least this part is good, and I'm happy that all of you understand this fact that there are 2 things that we need to take care of in this question, right? One is, obviously we have to ensure it's without repetition, but the constraints, 2 major constraints, is that 0 cannot be in the first place because you have a 0 here. And the second problem is that the number has to be even. 2 constraints. Now, if these 2, and Listen to this very carefully, because if you I'm telling you, if you understand these kind of multiple constraint questions, most of the questions, word related or number related with multiple constraint, becomes easy. Now, whenever you are in a dilemma where you have to fill spaces and a particular number can create a problem at two different places, like for example, 0. 0 has to have to ensure it's not here, but 0 is an even number. So I have to ensure that while writing cases, I take a case where I place 0 at the end, right? Because at the end, I can place 2, 4, 8, and 0, these four numbers. Now, what's the challenge? The challenge is, let's say if I put a 0 at the end, okay, fixing it, I'm putting a box over it. Let's say I fix 0 here. Then that means I'm free to use whatever I want to use at these places. Then I can put any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits out here without any issues, right? Okay, but let's say if I'm not putting a 0 here, let's say if I'm putting a 2 or a 4 or a 6 here, then I have to ensure 0 doesn't come up at this place, right? So whenever you're in a situation where you know that the placement of one number is going to affect the other places and you're not sure how it is going to affect, that is a very important trigger point, which is regarding cases. You should say to yourself that, okay, since I don't know what's my answer is going to change based on the placement of my 0, let me create specific cases deciding where is 0 or where is the constraint. Because once you know what you're doing, once you create a case, you would know how to place the other numbers. If you are not creating cases, then you will not know how to place numbers. So what are you going to do? You're going to say, okay, let me write case number 1. What is case number 1? You'll say case number 1 is 0 is at the end. Just specify it clearly. This is I'm now going to look at cases where I'm going to place 0 at the end. I'm going to fix it. My last place is going to be 0, nothing else. Okay. So if your last place is 0, you have fixed it. You're saying you're not going to put anything else. Then you're free to choose any of these 6 digits for the remaining 3 places. Okay, and since this is without repetition, distinct digits, you would say, okay, now I have 6 digits, 3 places. The first place can be filled in 6 ways. The second can be filled in 5 ways. The third can be filled in 4 ways. And obviously I've fixed this. I've fixed 0 here. So this is getting filled in only one way. I'm putting a 0 here. So total ways, total numbers that can be formed with 0 at the end is going to be 6 times 5 times 4, which is equal to 120 ways. So see, there's no confusion here. I know 0 is at the end, and I know rest of the places are other digits that need to be there. Okay. What is the second case? Second case obviously is going to be 0 not at the end. If 0 is not at the end, then what will be at the end? Because I need to ensure it's an even number. Then that means my last place can be filled with either 2, 4, or 8. Okay. So my last place will be either 2, 4, or 8. That means this place can be filled in 3 ways without any problems. Okay. Now I also know that 0 cannot be at the starting, because I'm writing a case where I'm taking a case 0 is not at starting or end. Okay. So when I'm filling the first space, and this is again, be very careful. I'm writing all the digits again, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 0. I'm filling the last space with any one of the even numbers. Okay. I filled it up. I cannot use 0 now. Keep this in mind. I cannot use 0 at the starting. So how many digits am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my first place can be filled in 5 ways, because 0 cannot be placed at the starting. Okay. I've placed something at the first place. Now I've taken care of all constraints. I've taken care of 2, 4, 8 at the end. 0 is not at the starting. So now I can bring back my 0. How many digits am I still left with? Again, I'll be left with 5 only, because I bought 0 again. So 5 place, second place can be filled in 5 ways. Third place can be filled in 4 ways. So total number of cases where 0 is not at the end or at the starting is going to be 25 times 12, which is 300. Okay, let me write it here. So the total, and again, keep in mind, you have two cases now. Thankfully, there's no option where the multiplication comes up to be this, but either this is going to happen, either 0 is at the end or 0 is not at the end. These are two different cases. So you simply add them up and say total cases are going to be 420 ways. Okay, so see, takeaway that you need to keep in mind is that there could be questions, and in fact, most GMAT questions, the slightly difficult ones, will have multiple constraints. Whenever you have multiple constraints, which might change your answer depending on where that constraint is being placed, like in this case 0, in such situations, always keep in mind that you need to create cases. Break down into different cases, find them up, and then simply add them to get your answer. You'll never make a mistake in such questions. Please let me know if this is clear or not. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Let me look at the chat box to see if there are any queries. Could we have starts with the starting digit constraint and then form? Aditya, can you elaborate a bit? What do you mean by could we have started with the starting digit constraint and then formed cases? In the second case, what if you're filling from the third digit? You can, Mayur, see, we cannot start from the third because I have to ensure my first place doesn't have a 0 in it. So if I start from the third doesn't have any constraint, Mayur. So I have to, first of all, the key takeaway for everybody is, guys, is number one is take care of the constraint first. So don't start from anywhere else, neither the third or the last or the second. Always fill in the constraints. If my constraint is on the first and the last, I'll take care of that first and then go wherever I want to go. Okay. So Mayur, I won't start from the third because there's one constraint that is still left which I haven't filled up. Please let me know if this is clear or not. So two takeaways once again. Number one is if there's a constraint, take care of the constraint first. Number two, if there are multiple constraints, create cases. If you're able to do these two things, it should not be a problem at all. Okay. Somebody is asking, what if the question allowed? So if repetition is allowed, then also you need to make small changes in the cases that you have out here. That's all. So you'll again say, okay, let me use the space here. You'll say, okay, let me fix 0 here. Fix 0. After that, there's no constraint on these, right? I'm talking about case 1 with repetition, okay, when repetition is allowed. Now, if you fix 0 here, keep in mind the first place cannot be 0. The first place cannot be 0. But apart from that, it can still take whatever you want it to take. So it can take any of these 6. So first place can be filled in 6 ways. Okay. After that, there are no constraints on these two, no constraint at all. You can put whatever you want to put. So now you can use all the 7 that you want to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this can be filled in 7 ways. This can be filled in 7 ways. It's easy. You just have to ask yourself what constraint you need to take. That's all. Once you fix the constraint, then ask yourself how many digits are available for you to fill the spaces. Is this clear, everyone? And then you can do that. But my point is fixed one of them. If you're not putting 0 at the starting, don't put 0 at the starting and then move from there also. Both these ways are fine, but fixed one constraint first and then solve it. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next question then. So we are going to continue using the filling space method. The only thing now changes is, keep in mind, whether it's digits or alphabets, doesn't matter. The concept will still remain the same. Okay, you were now using 1, 2, 3, 4. Now instead of that, they might give you A, B, C, D, E. But solving the question and the type of constraint will always going to remain the same. So whatever you have learned from question number 4, try and see if you can apply it here. And keep in mind what I've talked about. If there are multiple constraints, then try and see if you can make cases. If you can make cases and find the answer or not. Yes, if there are repetition, the answer obviously would be different. As I showed you here, you'll get a different answer. This is case 1. You have to obviously create case 2 also, where you put 2, 4, 8 here, and then again 6, 7, 7, and then add them up to get the answer. So this answer and that answer is going to be different. Okay, let me bring up the poll. Here's the poll, guys, for this one, and I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes for this one. Take your time. Anubhav, I'm not sure why are you not able to see it, but you can send me a private chat with your response if you want to. Okay, 10 seconds, guys, and I'm going to end the poll. Sure, Anubhav, thanks. Okay, so 43% of you think that the answer should be A. And I have the next highest is D, which is 360. Okay, can you tell me what's the constraint in this question? What are the things that we need to take care of? It's a fairly simple question. When I say simple, I mean the good part about these, at least word-related questions, at least specifically this one, is that you are given exact number of alphabets and you are asked to use all of them. Okay, that's number one. Now, this is, I think, where some of you made a mistake, where you're saying A and E together. Okay, that is where I want you, that is why I gave this question specifically is, and so that you, Daksha, Matthew, all of you fell for a small trap, guys. Guys, see, there's a difference between, let's focus on this part, okay? Whenever you're reading questions like these, where they say A to the left of E, A to the right of E, make sure to see if there's a small word inserted here or not. In fact, here, they are not saying the word immediate left. They're just saying left. Like, for example, this case, A is to the left of E, okay? And this satisfies the constraint. Now, most of you marked the answer, I think, as 120. What you did was, you must have taken A and E together, like this. If you did something like this, then you fell for the small trap. So always read carefully. If the word immediate left or A and E are always together, if such kind of words are used, then only you should combine them together. Otherwise, whenever they simply say, the question simply says A is to the left or to the right, something like that, then that means all kind of words, let me give you one or two more examples are possible. Like this case, let's just take a, this is also a word which satisfies the condition, A to the left of E. Okay. So make sure that you understand this constraint properly. Please let me know if this is clear or not. Let me bring up the yes and I'm going to show two methods. Okay, so those of you who are talking about 50% of the cases and all, I'm going to come to that. Don't worry. I want to make sure that I focus on the basics, because every time you might not know what to use in the exam. So what should we do in such cases? Now, when I say A to the left of E, you might have understood, okay, I don't know where A is or E is, right? There could be a number of ways in which you can place it. So what should you do? In that case, you start making cases. You think, okay, let me put E here. A could be anywhere out here, right? Let me put E here. And let me first of all, very quickly write down the cases. Then I'll explain. I think that would be easier then. A has to be the left of E. So if I look at this case, let's look at the last case first, okay? If A has to be to the left of E, then A has to be here only, okay? A has to be here, E has to be here. Okay. It's a 6-letter word. There are no more constraints on the remaining 4 alphabets, 4 letters. I can put anything anywhere I want to. So I can say this place can be filled in 4 ways. This can be filled in 3 ways. This can be filled in 2 ways. This can be filled in 1 ways. So total ways of filling this is 24. Where A is here, E is here. Okay. Easy. Now let's come to this case. Again, remember, I'm making sure that I fill the constraint first. That's my main goal. E is here. I need to place A. Okay. Now, A can come here or A can come here, right? A can be placed in any of the 2 places. So I can say, let's put it in this way, that A can be filled in 2 ways, anywhere. Okay. Either this place or this place. Now, once I fill A, once A is filled, the remaining 4 spaces that are left, once again, there's no constraint in it. They can be filled in any ways. Always keep this in mind. So what is left, STPL can come in any of these 4 spaces in 4, 3, 2, 1 ways. So I want you to notice a pattern which might help you solve the question quickly. Is see 4, 3, 2, 1 is going to come every time. And I'm writing it like this for a moment to help you out. Here also, A can come either here or here or here, any of these 3 spaces. So wherever it comes, it will come in 3 ways. Okay. And once again, I'll be left with 4 spaces. 4 spaces, 4 letters. They can again be filled in 4, 3, 2, 1 ways. Okay. So this becomes 3 times 24. By now, you must have understood what's going to happen here. This is going to be 4 times 24. And this is going to be 5 times 24. So all you need to do is, and obviously these are all unique cases, different cases. So all I need to do is simply add them up. So this is going to be 24 times, if I take common, and I'll end up getting 360. Please let me know if this is clear or not. If then I could have broken it down and shown it to you. I did it slightly quickly here, like the case where I put E here. I could have broken down and shown you 2 cases like this. I did not. I simply wrote 2. So if that is creating a confusion, please let me know. Here I simply wrote 2 because I know there'll be 2 different cases. A would be here, A would be here, AE, AE. But apart from that, the same pattern is going to be followed for all of them. Is this clear, everyone? If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Let me bring up the yes and no poll. Jody, that's what I'm showing you. A can be placed either at this space or this space. That's what I'm showing on top. Look at these 2 cases. So instead of writing them separately, I combined them together and wrote 2 times. That's all. Like if you're wondering how did I get a 3 here, it's basically 3 different cases: A, E, and one more cases would be A and E here. So instead of writing it separately, I'm writing it in one shot. Okay. Share, there's one problem with this is that you will be just considering one group and one ungroup, but there could be other cases also, right? It's not just only about A and being together and not together. Five factorial multiplied by 2 factorial give you cases where okay, let me explain it to you. If you combine A and E together, you have 5 factorial times 2 factorial. This gives you all the cases where A and E are together and they are arranging among themselves whatever words that you're forming, and that is not the goal here. So what you're doing is again exactly asking, the question. If the question would have asked you how many words can be formed in which A and E are together in any order, okay, not even left, right, just together, then in that case, the answer would have been 5 factorial times 2 factorial. Sudeep, that's what I'm showing. See, if A and E are together, if I if A and E come to be together, okay, then if the question simply says, I'm showing you, basically I'm going to show you two things, okay, guys. One is the second method. I'll come to it. Second method is slightly tricky, so I want to take some time explaining it. But somebody is asking you what happens if A and E are together. If the question would have been, how many six-letter words can be created using the letters of the word staple, such that A and E are say together, okay? And obviously the rest of the constraints are given. Then such situations, combine them together. Just take them together. Treat them as one entity, STPL, and treat A and E as one entity. When I say one entity, it's like taking them as one alphabet, okay? Now, think of it in this way. Wherever they go, they'll go in one shot. Wherever they go, they'll stick together like this, wherever you stick it up, okay? So you can think of it like this. There are 5 alphabets and 5 spaces. And we already know that we can fill this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 ways, right? 120 ways. Now, if the question is A and E always together, okay, not to the left, to the right, then that means wherever you're placing A and E also, no, they can interchange among themselves. So let's say if I have a word like this, okay, now the same word can be formed by flipping it, right, like this also. So once you get your case after clubbing it, you need to multiply it with 2 factorial to account for the arrangement within A and E. So EA or AE. So the total number of cases in that case would be 240 ways. Okay. If they would have told you A is always to the left of E, immediate left, then your answer would have been 120. Then you would not have to account for this one. Okay. So I'm showing you all variations. Please keep in mind, if they're just together, then it is 120, and then you account for the arrangement of A, E, E, A. If they give a constraint like immediate left or immediate right, then simply 120 ways. You don't need to account for the arrangement and you get your answer. Okay, I hope this is perfectly clear. Yes, Anubhav, these are all 7th level questions. I told you 657 level. Now coming to another method, guys, this again is not mandatory, the one that I'm teaching you now. As long as you know how to create cases, you will always be able to solve the question. Maybe take 30 seconds more, but you'll still get the answer. The second method is more conceptual in nature and might take some time to get the hang of it. So I would want you to, even when I explain it now, you might have to go through it once or more, twice more, maybe later on, if you haven't seen such kind of methods. Okay, so I'm putting it now only. Now, what is this method about? See, think in this way, that I'm looking for 6-letter words where A has to be the left of E, right? A very obvious thing, but I'm stating it again so that it fits in your mind. A has to be the left of E. Now, whatever word you form, let's say you are forming the word staple. If I keep everything fixed, okay, when I say everything fixed, I mean the ones where there are no constraints, STPL, then this A and E can arrange themselves in 2 ways. Like this, right? Out of these 2 cases, you just need half of the case. When I say half of the case, why? Because this is the correct case. This is the incorrect case. You don't want the incorrect case, you want the correct case, right? Where A is to the left of E. And this is valid for any kind of word that you form. So for example, STAELP, let's say for example. Here also, if I fixed everything, then here also they will arrange themselves like this. One of them is correct, the other one is incorrect, right? So once again, I can say that now if I find out all the cases, okay, if I find all cases without any restriction, what am I going to say? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? This is going to give me 720. All cases, okay, all without any constraint, no A to the left of E, nothing, everything 720. But out of these 720, I need only half of the cases because half of them are correct and half of them are incorrect. So if I want to find out only those cases where A is to the left of E, all I have to say is that my valid cases is nothing but total cases divided by 2. This way, when I divide it by 2, I eliminate all the cases where A is to the right of E, the ones which I don't want. Is this clear? Lakshman, that's what I'm explaining, that there are 50% of the cases which are correct and 50% of the cases which are incorrect. So if you want just 50% of the cases, 50% is basically half. So that is why I have to divide the total cases by 2 to get only those cases which are valid. I'm going to even generalize it further, but to generalize it further, I want to make, first of all, ensure that this is at least to a certain level clear. Yes, I'm coming, Shri Kumar, don't worry, I'm coming to that part. And then we are sure it's 50% because there are two alphabets, A and E. A and E can arrange themselves in 2 factorial ways. A and E can arrange themselves only in 2 factorial ways. That's why we are dividing it by 2 factorial. In fact, let me use the space a bit to tell you how to generalize this a bit more. Once you see the generalized form, I think it should be much more clear to you. See, let me do one thing. Let me take another a bigger word, STPA. Let's take stapled for a moment, okay, guys? And let's say I put a constraint that A to the left of E and E to the left of D, say for example, okay? 3 constraints, okay? Same story, the only difference is now I'm putting 3. Now, logically, once again, think about it in this way. The correct version is the one that you have in front of you. A, E, D. But A, E, D, these 3 alphabets, okay? Now for a moment, let me ask you a question, guys. This will help you understand. Let's say S, T, P, L, I fix it, okay? Now there are 3 boxes. In how many ways can you arrange A, E, D in these 3 boxes? Can anyone tell me? In how many ways can you arrange them in these 3 boxes? And then I'm coming to it, don't worry. It's not 33%. If you can answer this part, it will be easy. Guys, just I'm talking about AED. Please keep in mind. There are 3 spaces, 3 letters. In how many ways? 3 factorial ways, right? Very good. 6 ways, 3, 2, 1. 3 ways, 2 ways, 1 ways. So can you say that if I fix everything up, and I just want to arrange these AED, I can do it in 6 ways? Okay, these are total ways. How many correct ways do I have which satisfies the constraint AED? How many correct ways do I have, guys? 1, right? Only 1 correct way, where A is to the left of E, E is to the left of D. That is only 1 correct way of doing it. There's no other way. So if you want to find out the valid cases, you take your total cases and you divide that. In this case, there are 3, which is 3 factorial, and you get your total number of cases. So if I just fix these 3, I would say 6 by 6, which is 1. 1 correct way of doing it. Okay. And I'm just talking about the word stapled, okay, just like this. I'm not talking about the total question for now. I'm just trying to make you understand how do we get the valid cases. We get valid cases like this. Number of arrangements, whatever the arrangement is for the alphabets, multiplied by valid cases is equal to total cases. So if you want the valid cases, you simply divide your total cases by number of arrangement. If you remember this, these kind of questions can be solved in 30 seconds. So if I'm giving you the word stapled and I tell you, hey, arrange this word stapled such that A is before E, E is before D, or A is to the left of E, is to the left of D, then you would say, okay, what is the constraint? Without constraint, how many ways can I form letter? I can form it in 7 factorial ways, right? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like this. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is the constraint? The constraint is AED can arrange among themselves in 3 factorial ways. but I need only exact one of these cases every time. So number of arrangement in this case is 3 factorial. So valid case is going to be total factorial divided by 3 factorial, and that's your answer. Obviously, you can solve it and get your answer, whatever be it. But the logic is this. That is why in case of staple, when there were only A and E, that is why I said stapled is a 6-letter word. So total cases is 6 factorial, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A and E can arrange themselves in 2 factorial ways, but you need exactly one of them. So divide by 2 factorial and you have your answer. Please let me know if this is clear or not. Again, I would request you to go back to it once more. It's not that easy. You may want to even manually write a few cases later on to visualize it. But this is like the fastest way to solve these kind of constraint questions. We literally read these questions and mark our answer without wasting any time at all. Arindam, this is still a permutation question, not a probability question. Had the question been how many words can be, what is the probability of forming of the word staple such that A is to the left of E to the left of D, then you could have had something like this. Please let me know if this is clear. Hitakshi, unfortunately, I don't have a similar question like this for this one. There's another question that I want to do post this, but if I get the time, I'll create one more and give it to you. And these are easy, guys. You can just take any word that that comes up. For example, wait, let me just. And you can do this with what word should I take? Let's take the word recording for a moment, okay? Let's take the word recording. And it will hardly take a second. If you've understood this, it will not take a lot of time. If I give you the constraint that E should, and let me give you more constraint, E to the left of O to the left of I to the left of G. Okay, what would be the answer? Let's say if I give you the word recording, each words are unique. No, wait, recording has a non-unique word, so it's going to take a lot of time. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it recording. RECODING. E to the left of O to the left of I to the left of G. What is going to be the answer in this case? In one shot. The question is still the same, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. It's an 8-letter word in which E should be the left of O to the left of I to the left of G. Yeah, see, that's all you had to do. That's it. Exactly. Everybody's getting the correct answer, which is good. You don't have to do anything. Just do 8 factorial, 4 constraints, apply it, get your answer. That's all. I'm not asking you to mug it up. I would still say go back and look at it once more if you want to try it out, but that is all you need to do, nothing else. Good part is that questions like these, the one that I've shown you to the left, to the right, they come in exactly same format. So instead of left, they might put right or something like that, but the format is going to remain the same. So if you remember it, it's going to make your life very easy. Okay. Now let's do one final type on words, because I think that's also very important, which is these ones where repetitions come up and you have to use lesser number of words. Fatima, there's a repetitive question here with repetitive letters. So let's try this one, and I'm going to explain how to solve such questions. Okay. And let me bring up the poll. So I'm going to end the poll. Can anyone tell me what's the constraint in this question? What did you do in this question? In fact, you can put it in your chat. What method did you use to solve this question? Almost all of you are saying 840 as the answer, which I'm not sure it is, but I don't remember the answer. So we'll figure it out together. Not a problem. But how are you going to do it? and then says double E. So what do I do with this double E? Can you tell me? Consider the E's as one letter. No, we cannot do that. 7P4, nope. You can't do. Total cases divided by identical, nope. No, Sudeep, nope. So far, none of you have given me the correct answer. Okay, guys, let me ask you a question. No, and not correct. Okay, Arya has given me the correct answer, split into two cases where distinct letters. We can't. Anubhav, you are correct. Shreya, you are also correct. See, guys, this is again the same question like a zero and even odd kind of a question which I was talking about. Here you have the word freezing, which is 2, 4, 6, 8-letter word, right? Yeah, 8-letter word, and you have to form 4-letter words. Okay. The problem here is that you have two E's. Now, when you are choosing the 4-letter word, okay, when you are choosing the 4-letter word, some of you might be doing this. You might have done this and maybe divided this by 2 factorial. Some of you might have done this thing. Now, the problem with this, guys, is that you divide by 2 factorial only and only when you know that there are 2 E's definitely in the word that you are forming. But when you're forming 4-letter words using freezing, you could be forming a word like this also, right? When you say 8765, hypothetically speaking, you would be forming words like this. So why are you dividing all the cases by 2 factorial? Are you getting my point? Why this dividing everything by 2 factorial is incorrect? Let me bring up the yes and no poll. You divide by the 2 factorial only and only when you're sure that the words that you're forming has 2 E's in it. So if I have a word like this, FREE, here when I do 4, 3, 2, 1, divide by 2 factorial, it is valid because I'm using these 4 letters to form 4-letter words and I know there are 2 E's. So then I'll divide it by 2 factorial. Okay. But when I'm choosing my 4-letter words and when I don't know what am I choosing, I cannot blanket divide everything by 2 factorial. That would be incorrect. That is again the main thing which I talked about in case of zero, even odd. So whenever you're not sure what you're choosing or what is getting placed, as I told you last time also, when you're not sure whether you have 2 E's or you don't have 2 E's, when you're not sure of things like this, then in that again is a trigger that you have to make cases. What cases? You'll say, okay, there could be case number 1 where I am forming words, 4-letter words, where all of them are unique. Okay, all of them are unique. So you'll be using unique alphabets F, R, E, Z, I, N, G. You'll be using these unique alphabets to form your 4-letter word. Okay, I hope this part is clear. You'll say, okay, there could be a second case also where when I'm forming words, I need my 2 E's. I'll be using both the E's and the remaining 2 letters. So you write it like this. If you have to write a case, you write like 2 same, 2 distinct. Okay, so you'll choose 2 distinct letters. Okay, and then you'll keep 2 of them the same. So now both your cases are uniquely divided. You know what you need to do what in each of the individual cases without worrying about the 2 factorial anywhere. So where will I do my divide by 2 factorial? I'll be doing it here. Why will I be doing it in case 2? Because I know I'll be using 2 E's. I will not be dividing here by 2 factorial because I know that I am using all unique alphabets to form my words. Is this part clear, guys? Then only I'll do the calculation. There's one small calculation new thing that I'm going to show in this one. So before going there, I wanted to be sure that this is clear. Okay, good. I can see it's clear. Very good. So what you do now is you simply start with the first case, which is now very easy. You'll say, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 letters, 4 spaces. First place can be filled in 7 ways, 6 ways, 5 ways, and 4 ways. Is this part clear? So this basically gives you 840. So you have 840 cases where all the alphabets are unique. So obviously your answer has to be more than that. It has to be either D or E. Okay. Now coming to two distinct. Now here also you have to be careful. There's one mistake, big mistake, and I'm highlighting it here. Even I have made it in my early days. So I'm again want to make sure that it is perfectly clear that you know that you'll be using two E's. Okay. What are you left with? You're left with F, R, Z, I, N, G. Now, in the previous case, you had all of them in front of you, all the alphabets. So you simply started placing them and getting your answer. Here the problem is, you know that you have to use two E's, but you don't know which are the remaining two letters. Okay. And keep in mind, when you're arranging them, you'll be arranging them overall, like the E's could be anywhere. Okay. I'm giving you an example just for you to visualize it. You have to take all cases like these. You could have FZ, you could have FI, you could have ZI, you could have NG. You have to consider all cases, all different cases where you have two E's, but the remaining two that are there can be anything, any out of these 6 alphabets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here is where this is the first time I'm going to show you what we need to do here. So here we need to select which two letters do I want. Okay, once again, keep in mind that I'm focusing on the word select. Whenever you use as a word select, that is the meaning of combination. Remember, I told you that I'll be avoiding it as much as possible. Permutation combination. Unfortunately, these are some of the places where it is slightly difficult to avoid. Because if you try to do manual selection, you can manually count it, by the way, as I told you. Counting is always possible. You can write down cases like this, FREE, FZEE, you know, you can do it like this, FIZEE, and then find each and every case. You can do that, but that is going to take a lot of time. So just to figure out which two alphabets do you want, which two alphabets will you take apart from the two E's, this is where you do your selection. You say, okay, I have 6 alphabets. I need 2 of them for the remaining 2 to create my 4-letter word. In how many ways can I do it? This is where you use the formula NCR. Okay. What is N? N is the total items that you have. And R is the number of items that you're selecting, a number of alphabets that you're selecting, whatever you want to call it. So in this case, you have N is 6 because you have 6 items with you. So you'll say out of 6, I need to select 2. This 62, the beauty of the 62 is it gives you all the possible combinations that are there, that are possible to create 4-letter words, select 4-letter words. Okay, so you don't have to write this down manually and count it. Okay, now the selection is done. The different ways of selecting has been accomplished. So now the only thing is selection done, and now you need to arrange them. So how do you arrange? And you can find for any one of them. The moment you find for one of them, for the remaining, it's going to remain the same. So let's take FREE. You have 4 spaces. You can fill the first in 4 ways, 3 ways, 2 ways, 1 ways. And I told you there are 2 E's. So you divide it by 2 factorial. So the total ways to arrange any 4-letter word are like these is 24 by 2, 12. So basically, the total ways of getting two distinct cases is 6C2. This is the ways of selection. And then and arrangement, which is 12. You get 180 cases here, 840 cases here. These are two distinct cases. If you add them up, you end up getting your answer as option E. Guys, please let me know if this is clear or not. Again, I know this is slightly tricky, so I'm okay spending 5-10 minutes here just to make sure that it is perfectly clear. Okay, let me look at the chat box. I can see some questions. Ruhi, when they say how many 4-letter words can be used by creating using the letters of freezing, then that means you just need to use the words that letters that are there in freezing. So you cannot use 8888. You just have to use what you have. You cannot use F 8 times or R 8 times. Just to let you know, that's the language that we use. So when they say using the letters of the word freezing, that means you just have those letters. You cannot repeat anything more than once. Otherwise, the purpose of the question is destroyed. Why would we make two E's or anything? We can make anything that we want. Are you getting my point? Okay, everybody's asking why are we dividing? But guys, because there are two E's, when you're arranging it, the two E's cannot arrange themselves in any ways, right? Whether you write it E. So, okay. If I have FREE, okay, I can arrange. Just does interchanging this make any difference? It is still going to be FREE only, right? If I have the word RFREFE, say for example, okay. If I interchange it, is it going to make any dent in my word? It's still going to remain the same, right? So whenever we are finding this, whenever there are repetition of alphabets, and you know that their arrangement is not going to create any change in the answer, you divide it by that many factorial. So there are two E's, so you divide it by 2 factorial. If there would have been 3 E's, say for example FREEE, and you are finding 5-letter words of all the cases which look like FREE, then I would have said 5 factorial by 3 factorial. When I say 5, I mean the same thing. I'm using filling space method only, but I'm doing it in one shot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there are 3 E's, so you divide by 3 factorial. So the number of repetitions would decide the number of factorial by which I'll be dividing it by. Because Nitin, if I consider, okay, so I can see people are still asking about case 2. There are two things which I want to clear separately, okay? I want to clear it separately before I go back to the previous slide. Some people are asking why are we not combining the E's together like FRE and then doing 3 factorial? Good question. But tell me, will you get word, how if I do it like this, FR, and I club it together, how will I get words like this then? If you club them together and write it as 3 factorial, will I be able to get cases like these? EFRE. How will I get this case? I will not get these cases, right? I want all the cases. So if I want all the cases, I'll keep it free like this. I'll say there are 4 spaces. I'll say 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay. Without any prior constraints. And then I'll say there are 2 E's which arrange themselves and don't give me anything at all. So I'll divide it by 2 factorial. It's like the same thing, guys. The moment when I talked about, remember I told you valid cases is equal to total cases upon the repetition. I gave you the n factorial formula. It's the same logic that we are using here. These interchanging of E does not make any difference. That is why we divided by that many factorial. So I hope the division of factorial part is clear now. Yes, PB, this is the last question for the day. Let me come to the second case. Now, guys, let's come to case 2 a little bit more in detail. Somebody also asked, how would we do this in 2 minutes? So guys, understand that, as I told you, questions of alphabets and questions especially like these where they give you more words and they have to form less, they all follow the same pattern. You have to understand the pattern so that you can write the cases quickly. So I'm generalizing it as much as possible for you so that in the exam, you don't have to think a lot. You just have to make cases and get the answer. Now, coming to case 2 a bit more elaborately. Case 2 was where there are two letters. See, first of all, let's understand a few more things more clearly. I can have words like this, right? FREE. Okay, and I can have all different ways of arranging it. All different ways of arranging, which I just showed you, would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 2 factorial, right? I showed you this. This was 12 cases. Remember? I can have something like this FZEE. This will also be 12 cases. Nothing. This also won't change, right? I can have a case like this ZIEE. Same thing. Won't change anything. And I can keep on getting all these cases with two E's fixed. And I keep on changing the first two. Is this part clear or not? That I can keep on doing this for case number 2, where there are two E's and two distinct alphabets. Is this part clear or not? I'll come to the calculation. And I'm coming to the 12 also, but tell me whether this part is clear or not. 12 arrangement part I'm coming. Marie, don't worry. Okay, it's clear to everyone. Good. Now see guys, these are all the cases that you want. FR, FZ, ZI, IN, FZ, FN, n number of cases, right? And for all of them, the answer is going to be 12 only. Okay. What are you going to do? For case 2, if I had to do it manually, I would have written all the cases down. And these are all what? FR, FZ, ZI. These are ways of selecting two letters. What would you have done? You would have done 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, 12, 12, 12. You'll have kept on adding. How many times? You'll add them, this 12. How many times will you add them? You'll add them the number of times, then you can write the number of cases that you can create, right? (12) multiplied by number of cases, right? So for example, if there were only 3 cases, hypothetically speaking, if there were only 3 cases, then you would have simply done 12 times 3, right? 12 is the number of cases. 3 is the number of ways of selecting two letters, right? If there would have been 3 cases. If there would have been, like I've written 5 cases also here, then you would have done 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 5 times. 12 times 5, right? Now this, the formula which I wrote, let me go back a bit to show you. Notice this 6C2 times 12. This 12 that you see here is this 12. Okay. This is this 12. Now the left hand part, let me write it this way. This is this 12. From where did I get this number? I got this number by counting the number of ways in which I can select two alphabets. The number of ways in which I can select, and I'm repeating the word again, selection of two letters. Number of ways. Now what I'm saying is, guys, instead of manually writing down each cases and then counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 times, it is better to ask yourself, how many words do I have? I have F, R, Z, I, N, G. I have 6 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to select 2 of them. And I need to figure out how many ways I can select these. And how many ways can you select these? You can do that in NCR ways. N is 6, total 6. You're selecting 2 at a time. So you put 2. 6C2 tells you in how many ways can this be written down. And this comes out to be 6 factorial. By the way, the formula of NCR I haven't given you. So I'm writing it here. N factorial by R factorial times N minus R factorial. This is the formula. So this would give you 6 factorial by 4 factorial times 2 factorial. Okay. And this comes out to be, if you solve it, if you try and simplify it, will give you 15 times 12. Now, instead of counting this 15 cases one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one, I am doing it directly and saying, okay, there are 15 ways of writing this. And for each of them, you'll get 12 unique cases. So 15 times 12, which gives you 180. Please let me know if this is clear or not, guys. Let me bring up the yes and no poll again. Anubhav, I'm not sure what do you mean by why can't we do like 2e's? What do you mean by 2e's 12 multiplied by remaining number as 6 times 5? I'm not clear about this. Can you elaborate a bit? Okay, Anubhav, see, understand. 6 times 5, which 6 times 5? When you say 6 times 5, which two alphabets are you arranging 6 times 5? And what about the 2's? Are the 2's fixed? They are not fixed at two places. As I told you, the e's can be anywhere, Anubhav. The e's don't necessarily, I understood what you're trying to say. You're trying to say, let's put 2 e's like this and then do 6 times 5. But this is wrong, no? These e's can be arranged anywhere. They can be here and here also. Who will take care of these cases? What about these cases? So what you're saying doesn't fit in. Anubhav, when we are not arranging 2 e's in 12 ways, we are arranging 2 e's along with 2 distinct alphabet in 12 ways. Just to be clear. The 2 e's is not 12. 12 is just one way of arranging 2 distinct and 2 unique alphabets. Now you need to figure out how many distinct can be created. Raki, the videos are uploaded on, the recording of these videos are uploaded on our YouTube channel. I'm sharing our link, YouTube link. You can use, you can see the recording here. I'm broadcasting it also. So once you subscribe to it, you'll get a notification once we upload the recording, Raki. Anubhav, that's what I'm trying to make you understand. What does 6 times 5 give you? 6 times 5 just tells you the arrangement of 2 letters at 2 places, but you have 4 places. You don't have only 2 places. Where did the 2 e's go? Where are you placing the 2 e's? They are not getting placed in 12 ways. FREE is getting arranged in 12 ways. 6 times 5, let's say, Anubhav, if you had something like this, if this was fixed, let's say, if your say F and R is fixed, say for example, and then you're left with only 2 spaces, and you say you have 6 alphabets, then you can arrange in 6 times 5, 30 ways. That's fine. But your F and R is not fixed. Your even 2 E's are not fixed. 2 E's are something that you need, but where are those 2 E's? Are they, why are you fixing them here? They could be anywhere that they want to be. No, Anubhav, that is where you're making a mistake. We are not multiplying it by 12. That is what I'm reiterating again and again. 12 is arrangement of a one particular case. Any case that you want to take, whether you take FRE, FZE, whatever case that you want to take, it tells you that if you have a particular scenario like this, let's say this case, if you have these 4 with you, all 4 of them, then you can arrange these FZEE in 12 ways. FZEE, I'm reiterating it again. And this 12 ways includes cases like these also, E, F, Z, E, all these kind of cases. You're not fixing your E at the end. This is just for the representational sake that I showed you that you need 2 more alphabets, but I'm not fixing the 2 E's anywhere. I hope that answers your query, Anubhav. Guys, I'm reiterating the process so that it sticks a little bit. Whenever you're given a question, then you won't get 12. Just saying not fixing doesn't make sense, no, Anubhav. If you're not fixing, then what is your 12 then? Then what is your 12? Tell me what is your 12. How did you get 12 then if you're not fixing? Guys, okay, now think about it for a moment and then tell me what is your 12 and what is your 6 times 5. Take 2 minutes, think about it and then tell me. In the meantime, for those of you, I'll summarize this process because I'm telling you this is an important kind of question. Remember that in questions like these, step 1 is to create cases. How do you understand you need to create cases? You need to understand you need to create cases if there is repetition. If there's repetition, then you don't know which alphabets you're going to use. Okay, since you don't know which alphabets you're going to use, in that cases, you need to create cases. How do you create cases? A faster way, because a lot of you are asking how to do this in 2 minutes. Remember, there's always one case which is always really possible, will be a unique case. You have to take a case where all of them are unique. That way, you don't have to worry about the division or repetition. That gets saved, okay? Please keep this in mind. After that, you need to consider cases where repetition is allowed. Like in this case, there are two E's. So here you create a case where you have two same, two distinct. Okay. There could be other difficult cases also, like there you could have a case. You could have a case with three E's also in the exam, just letting you know. If that is the case, then you make another case, three same, one distinct. But you have to make cases. Keep this in mind. Okay. You have to make cases. Now in this, the main trick, which I see a little bit of you, some of you are slightly struggling with, is the selection part. Please keep in mind, you have to select the distinct part. Unless and until you don't select, what will you arrange? You have to understand this part clearly, that if you don't have what you need to arrange, you cannot arrange it. You don't know which letters you're using. So just saying 6 times 5 or 4 times 3 doesn't make sense, because you don't know which two you want to take to arrange. Okay, so you have to first select which two you want to take and then you arrange them. The moment you know, like in this case, why was I not worried about selection? If somebody asks me, I would say because I have all the alphabet. I don't need to worry about which one I want to take. Okay, that is why I'm doing 7654 freely, because I have everything with me. In two same, two distinct, I don't know which two distinct I'm going to be using. I'm not sure whether it would be FZ or FR or SE. So just saying 6 times 5 divided by 2 factorial. And by the way, I don't know where the 12 will come from then. If you don't take it, then you will not know what are you arranging. What is this 6 times 5 by 2 factorial? What is this? 6 times 5 tells you just the ways of filling two spaces with 6 alphabets and 5 alphabets. But where did these two E's go? Will you again be doing double counting 4, 3, 2, 1? But then that would... Okay, so keep this in mind that you have to first select which alphabets you want to take. Once you've done that selection, then arrange it without any worries. The way you arrange it, you'll get your answer easily. Okay, so that's it from my end today, guys. I know it's a difficult session, but I hope it was slightly insightful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm there for about 5-10 minutes more. Anubhav, tell me what is your 12 first. What is your 12? What is 4 factorial by 2 factorial? 6 times 5 gives you arrangement, Anubhav. You need to do selection. 4 times by 2 factorial is also correct. By the way, 4 factorial by 2 factorial gives you the ways of arranging. You and I are both on the same page, at least by when it comes to 4 factorial by 2 factorial. Okay, Anubhav, where you are arranging 4 letters and you're dividing by 2 factorial. Absolutely correct. Okay. But 6 times 5 gives you arrangement. You need to select. I would request you to do one thing, because in the interest of time, I'm telling you, write 6 times 5 manually. There are 30 cases. Won't take you 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes. Write it. You'll notice there are repetitions. You will just need 15 cases, not 30 cases. So 12 times 6 times 5, when you do it, you are actually considering double the number of cases. Okay. So try it out once. I can guarantee you'll get double number of cases. The only mistake in 12 times 6 times 5 is that in 6 times 5, you have to divide by 2 factorial. That is the only mistake that you're making. So just a request, take 10 minutes of your time, write down these 30 cases. You'll notice half of the cases are the same. You're welcome, everyone. Amna, as I told you, we'll add the recording in the YouTube channel. I hope you can see the link. I'm resharing it again. In case you haven't got it, you can use this link, subscribe to it. Once we upload the video, which we'll be doing it tomorrow most probably, you should be able to review the recording. Okay. Any other questions, anyone? And then I can see you're raising your hand. Can you please put in it your whatever you want to ask in the chat if you can? Thanks, Shreya. Thanks, Lakshmi. You're welcome, Pooja. Glad to hear that. Is FR same as RZ? The number of cases for FR and RZ are going to be the same, but they are two distinct cases, Anubhav. The number of cases that would come out is going to be the same for both of them. So, but they are two different distinct cases. FREE, RZEE are two different cases. Why doesn't 8, what is 8? Arindam, that's what I'm saying now. When you do 8P4, you are saying you are selecting 4 out of 8. Okay, Arindam? You're saying you're selecting 4 out of 8, but which 4? That was the first premise when I started the discussion. I told you that the reason for breaking down these cases is because if you say 8P4, then you don't know which 4 you're taking, Arindam. Whether you're taking the 2E's or whether you're not taking the 2E's, you have no clarity on that. 8P4 simply means selecting 4 out of 8 unique. Okay, 8P4 means that, just to make it very clear. 4 unique out of 8 unique. So we're dividing by 2 factorial doesn't make sense because you don't know whether you're taking the 2E's or not. That is why we don't do a blanket 8P4 divided by 2 factorial. As a learning, I'm again reiterating and requesting everyone that whenever there's repetition, don't do 8P4, NP4 blindly because you don't know which alphabets you'll be picking up. NP4, NPR, these formulas are valid and easier to use only when you have all distinct cases. Okay, please keep in mind all distinct. So if I had a word like FREZING, just a single E, without any problem, Arinda, you could have done 7 factorial by 7P4 and got the answer without any worries. Frankly speaking, nothing to do about it. But GMAT won't give you that. They know that they will be able to use 7 factorial by 4 factorial. Anubhav, out of those 30 cases, some of them are repeated. Has to be repetitive. Check them properly. Yes, Arindam, arranging 8 letters in 4 places when all of them are unique, Arindam. All of them are unique. So if I had, instead of 2 E's, if I had say FRE, some other thing, okay, let's say B, something like this, okay. Then you could have done 8P4 and got away with the answer. Nothing else to do. You need to create 4-letter words using 8-letter words, just do 8P4, get your answer finished, done. But if there's a repetition, you don't know when you're writing 8P4, which 4 are you choosing? Thanks, Jagos. Anubhav, F and NF, they are both the same thing. Please, again, I'm reiterating it. We are selecting, not arranging. I can look at your fourth case and your last case. They're both the same. You need to select. Select and then arrange. That is, I've been reiterating. You're not listening. ZR, RZ, they are the same thing. I'm using the word select. You talked about FR and ZF. They are different. You gave me FR and RZ. FR, RZ obviously are different. FR, RF are the same. Look at your chat. What did you ask me and what did I reply? You asked me about FR, RZ and I did say FR, RZ are different. Did you ask me about FR and RF? You're confusing two things together, Anubhav, once again. Decide what you want to do first. Do you want to do first the selection and then arrangement, or do you want to do arrangement selection both at the same time? Because now what you have given in your chat is both arrangement and selection both. I'm going to say it for the last time. I am selecting first. Look at my mouse arrow where I'm moving it. This part, 6C2 is selection. Selection, selection, selection. Selection means just selecting, taking it without worrying about the order. Okay, that is just 15 cases, not 30 cases, the way you have shown. And I put a multiplication sign for that because I'm using the word and for each selection. So the case that you wrote, FN, the one that you're showing in your chat, FNEE, just I'm focusing on the word FNEE. Okay, I'm reiterating, so listen carefully. Arrangement of FNEE is 12 ways. Okay. Thanks, Shinelo. So the question was, how many words can the letters of the word freezing be a letter? In them, we have 4-letter words. Okay, if they talk about just 4 letters, then 8p4 by 2 factorial. But why 2 factorial? Freezing and how? Then simply 8 factorial by 2 factorial in them. Just 8 factorial by 2 factorial. If you have to take all the words, then take everything. No, why put 8p4 again? Okay, guys, any other questions apart from this? Okay, guys, I'm ending the session now. I don't see any more questions. I hope it was constructive. Learn something from this session. Just in case, if you still have any queries, do write to us at support@gmatwiz.com. I'm just sharing the email ID once quickly. In case you want to get in touch with us, please feel to do so at this email ID, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your queries. All the best, guys. Then I'm ending the session now. Take care. Bye.